What is going on, guys? This video brought to you by Machinima Prime's Dead Island trailer. It was remade, shot for shot. It's over at Machinima Prime. Click the link on the screen. Go check it out. Links in the description. Swear to gosh, it's awesome. Directed by BJ McConnell. Go check it out. What is going on, guys? This is the 5-point preview for Monday Night Raw for 11/18/2013. Tonight's show. You know what? I have to say this, to be honest with you. I haven't done Raw reviews the last 2 weeks. A couple weeks, actually. And I'm a little disappointed. You know, we had a string of 3 pay-per-views back to back to back that were in a 3-month time period. Night of Champions, Battleground, and Hell in a Cell were all within 3 weeks. None of them really got the build-up they deserved. A lot of them, though, you know, actually had matches that had feuds in them. Survivor Series this year, if you're looking at, you know, where we are as far as what's been announced and what's, you know, here, we only have 3 matches announced. Now, I'm a little worried and skeptical about this. We only have, and I'll announce them and talk about them in order. So, the first thing I want to talk about here before this, Damien Sandow. Now, the last couple weeks, he cashed in on Monday Night Raw against John Cena. He would go on to lose. And I said, and this is something that I think even Mick Foley on Twitter said, he's like, look back in my career. He's like, everybody thinks it's going to bury him or whatever. It's like, look back in my career. Look at your favorite matches that I've ever done, and look how many of them I actually ever won. Like, I lost probably most of the matches you ever loved me in. And I think, you know, it served its purpose with Damien losing. Now, if that was to get a more ruthless, you know, more heelish, more bad guy side out of Damien, you know, he's already been using that new finisher, getting to see him. I love it. I think Damien is working up to being a champion. And I would rather have him do what he did and cash in against Cena and lose versus cashing in against somebody like Alberto Del Rio and losing. I think that would have been the worst thing possible. And then last week he was against Kofi Kingston and he beat him. And a lot of people were like, he jobbed to him. But no, he went out and beat Kofi Kingston, who Kofi they've been pushing a little bit too. So with Damien Sandow, my thoughts going into it, I don't exactly know if... you know, where they're going to go with him. I hope eventually after Alberto Del Rio loses, or hopefully, you know, some people are speculating John Cena will get injured at the pay-per-view and he'll be gone until Royal Rumble, which is a possibility. And hopefully to do that, they have to get, you know, Damien Sandow to that position where he could actually credibly challenge, you know, John Cena or Del Rio. I think that's an option. But if Damien Sandow doesn't get a title opportunity in the next 3 months, I'll be completely disappointed with the WWE. I think I honestly will. So, all right, let's move on. The next thing I want to talk about is the build-up, obviously, for Randy Orton versus Big Show. Now, this is a match I didn't want to see. I was not expecting this at all, to be honest with you. I was expecting some sort of number 1 contender match, and somebody like CM Punk, or somebody would find a way, not CM Punk, you know, because they're in a thing with Daniel Bryan, but like I thought somebody would get in there and be able to step up. And you know, I honestly was hoping for a Triple H versus Big Show match. I honestly was. I don't want to see Randy versus Big Show again. They faced off last year. It's all we got last year. I mean, it wasn't Night of Champions, Hell in a Cell, if I can remember right. And honestly, I'm not too interested in it. I don't believe in it. You know, I said from the start when this whole against the corporation, or in this case, the Authority started, everybody's like, this is for Daniel Bryan. Daniel Bryan's going to be the one going up against the Authority. And I said, no, it's going to be the Big Show. They're setting up Big Show to be the guy who goes up against the McMahons. And everybody's like, no, that's not the case, Tubby. It's Daniel Bryan. And Daniel Bryan, you know, kind of went for the title. Triple H shunned him. The title went in abeyance. But for the most part, it was Big Show who went up against the Authority, who challenged them, who challenged Stephanie McMahon, who challenged, you know, Triple H. So it's not Big Show's show. It's Big Show's show. And I think that's sad. I think, you know, if WWE seriously, you know, based on what the dirt sheets and rumors saying, you know, you can only trust them about 10% of the time. But, I mean, let's be honest. If they're really blaming Daniel Bryan for the bad buy rates, you know, I'm a little worried about WWE because they're obviously, you saw the crowds going into SummerSlam for Daniel Bryan. The cheers. I was there. The crowd was ecstatic. You honestly can't tell me that the crowd goes absolutely apeshit crazy, and it's not good for business. But yet you put in a guy like Big Show or, Randy Orton, who, isn't really getting that big pop like Daniel Bryan was, and yet they're gonna get more pay-per-view buys. To me, that just doesn't make sense because the crowd was so behind Daniel Bryan. So with the whole Randy Orton Big Show thing, I'm not really too worried about it. Last week they decimated Big Show. They they went off air, leaving him put through a table, absolutely destroyed. It'll be interesting to see where they kind of go from here. How does Big Show retaliate? Because, so far the Shield hasn't even been announced for Survivor Series, and there's a lot of speculation that they're going to be added in the tag team match to make a 6-man Survivor Series match, which I think is highly possible. And I'm sure we'll find out tonight that something like that will happen. But then that means, where does Randy Orton and, Big Show go from here? What does Big Show do next? The question is, does Big Show get the upper hand here going into Survivor Series, or is it Randy? Because usually the guy who gets the upper hand, usually the one that loses. Not always, but it does happen. So let me know what you guys think. Randy Orton versus Big Show. Are you excited for it? What do you expect the build-up to be tonight? Honestly, I'm not really too excited for it at all. I'm not believing Randy Orton is champion right now. I'm not feeling it. I much rather would have had Daniel Bryan. I understand why they didn't give it to Daniel Bryan, and I'm cool with it. I'm not one of those people that are all sour about it and are upset in any way, shape, or form. I thought it was the right decision to not give it to Daniel Bryan because coming into WrestleMania 30, what more of a storied career to give it to him? I just wasn't expecting Big Show versus Randy Orton. So, honestly, I'm going to say Big Show and Randy Orton tonight to build up. Whoever comes out on top, I think will go on to lose, and I think Randy still wins at the pay-per-view. If they put the title on Big Show because of the whole giant complex and getting larger than life athletes, I'm just, we're supposed to feel good for Big Show, and we were when he was going up against the Authority. But the second Big Show was like, I want a title match, we were like, no, we don't want that. Fuck no. So, I think Big Show kind of screwed himself with the title match. I much rather would have preferred a Triple H match. Maybe it still happens. I say Triple H gets involved at the pay-per-view and then touch up Big Show versus Triple H for TLC, which has long been talked about. So, yeah. All right, let's talk about the last thing. We have more things we could talk about, but CM Punk versus Daniel Bryan versus the Wyatt family announced for Survivor Series. We still don't have a Survivor Series 6-on-6 or 4-on-4 or 5v5. I always laugh when they say the traditional 6-on-6 because, it's, in the past it's been 4-on-4. It's been 5-on-5. I don't think there is a traditional number. I think they change it every year to what they need. I think they could do a tag team. They teased it with Kofi, Usos, the Shield on one side. I think they could do that in a 6 superstar, maybe like Kane or something. I could highly anticipate that happening. And, we had speculated for a long time that, Kane would be joining the Wyatts. Well, he could be. It's just with the help of the Authority, not because they turned him, into him. Now, I will say, I'm still waiting for the Devil Made Me Do It thing to be Stephanie McMahon. I'm loving it. I can't wait for that to get revealed. I'm so excited. But with the Wyatt family, I'm so excited for the Wyatt family with Luke Harper and Eric Rowan. Oh, Bray Wyatt, he could get added. Although Bray's kind of been in a feud with a couple guys, but. They're elevating the Wyatt family, Luke Harper and Eric Rowan very well. I still think Luke Harper has got huge potential in the WWE, and I know the comparisons, they were comparing him to Bruiser Brody, which I think is a good comparison. I think he's one hell of a talent. If you watch his NXT matches, he's very, very entertaining. So tonight, I would expect it to finally get made into some sort of 6-man with Goldust or Cody Rhodes or something along the lines of that, and then whether or not they go that route. Because they could do a Shield versus, Goldust and Cody Rhodes. They could do the Usos. There's so many different things they could do. They could do a Survivor Series tag team match. They could do, add them into this tag team match. There's so many different ways they could go. Honestly, guys, I'm just going to let Raw play tonight. I missed last week's London show. I saw the spoilers, and I didn't really care to watch. So I left for the night, but I want to know what you guys think. Let me know in the comments section below. What are you expecting for a Monday Night Raw tonight? Like I said, I think this is when the night gets confirmed for the 6-man Survivor Series tag team match. Because if you go into Survivor Series and you don't have a Survivor Series match, I think it's a little cheesy. And with only 3 matches being announced, I think we're going to get a United States Championship match, an Intercontinental Championship match, and a Divas match announced, possibly. A lot of people were mad why Dolph Ziggler, why some of the guys got a championship match over in the UK. And honestly, I think it's because when they go on tour in the UK, they want to put on a show and, the titles for them. And so I honestly think that's why they did it. So let me know what you guys think about Monday Night Raw tonight. Until next time, my name is Tubby, and we will see you all later.